know what? I'm so sick of everyone complaining about the second apron. Oh, it's impossible to build a team. That is all bullshit. It's out the window. I'm done. I'm out on basketball already. This trade right here is the Drew Holiday trade for the Celtics last year. Like, it just book those two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we're all gonna just be sitting back and watching.
Philly pride insists that's all. Andrew Rappin and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems Philly versus NY. Here we come. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear. Join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew Sistad, glad unite. Philly NY in the spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8. We have a loaded episode for you today. We're going to react to the Eagles and Jets losses. We will get you set for the MLB postseason as the Mets punched their ticket earlier today. The Knicks made a blockbuster trade. We will get to that. We will preview the Islanders and Devils seasons as part of our split episode NHL previews. And we will wrap up the episode with the weekly segments, Let's Mock New York Fans on Twitter, and subscriber questions. Getting right into it, let's start with the New York Knicks blockbuster trade. The Knicks, if you haven't heard by now, on Friday night, very late, traded Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and a first round, very, very heavily protected first round pick for Karl Anthony Towns, more commonly known as Cat. Why are you shaking your head? You're very upset about this? What's going on?
I'm very upset about it. I'm super angry. I can't explain the...
Well, I hope you can explain.
I'll try. So the reason why there's so many reasons that I just am so fucking mad about this trade. One, I mean, in short, because it's an amazing trade for the Knicks, and the Sixers had their best offseason in years. And I had never been more excited for a basketball season in my life, and now I'm done. I'm out on basketball already. And don't tell me oh, the season hasn't started yet. I told you the same thing about the Celtics last year. This trade right here is the Drew Holiday trade for the Celtics last year. Like, it just book those two teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we're all going to just be sitting back and watching, because that's what's going to happen. And you know what? I'm so sick of everyone complaining about the second apron. Oh, it's impossible to build a team. That is all bullshit. It's out the window, because the Knicks just put together
not even at the second apron.
They're
not even at the second apron. What are you talking about?
Right. It's because none of it
matters
matters
the second
anyway.
apron.
Even if they were. Who cares if they were? Oh, Cat, oh no.
Well, you don't understand how it works.
Oh, Cat has a $60 million cap hit in 3 years. Who cares? Okay. None of it matters, because they're going to be champions in 11 months. So why are we going to get upset about a $60 million cap hit in 2029?
I'm going to rein this back
ridiculous.
in. You're out of control right now. You're out of control. Let's talk about this for a second. All right.
And they got him for nothing. I mean, they got him for a player they're not going to re-sign, a role player and a fake pick. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They go out and get Bridges for nothing.
It is a fake pick.
And it's like, all these trades are for nothing. The Celtics got Drew Holiday for nothing last year. It's like, isn't it supposed to be hard for these teams to, like, put together these elite lineups?
Are we going to be able to talk about this trade, or are you just going to cry? Are you just going to cry? You're going to keep crying?
Last thing, apparently teams just give away really good players for nothing. So
okay, all right.
That's it.
Yes. Okay, good. Let's talk about that, because you agree, I'm not one of these Knicks fans that's ridiculous with, oh, I hate Randall, he sucks, he's the worst player ever, and then as soon as he gets traded, acting like he's so great, right? Because that's a thing that's going on. Yes. Knicks fans hated him. They couldn't stop criticizing him. And then the moment he gets traded, like, oh my God, I love Randall. Thank you for turning our franchise around.
Yes.
That's not me, right?
No, of course not.
Okay, so when the Knicks made the trade for OG Anunoby, I thought it was a really good trade for the Knicks, right? I thought they were better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall my reaction when they made the trade for Mikal Bridges?
Yeah, I think you were pretty lukewarm on it.
Yeah, I thought it was I thought getting him improved the team significantly, but while acknowledging that they traded most of their all their draft capital away. Like that was the move that they were making with the draft picks. This trade, it is not clear to me that the Knicks are absolutely better. I believe that they made a trade that should get them better. I'm very hopeful of the trade, but it is not a clear cut. This is the Knicks are the best team now, or the Knicks are going to win a championship. It is not. And to act like they to trade,
I think I could
you're
not disagree with you more.
devaluing a couple things here. Well, let's talk about this. Hold on. So first off, let's talk about it's a big trade. My initial reaction, by the way, was I wasn't shocked that they traded Julius Randle. I wasn't shocked that they traded for Cat. I was shocked. I was very surprised that Devo was in the trade, which that's what it took to make the trade. I was also very surprised by the timing. I was actually working on some of our clips from the Cowboys-Giants reaction episode that Brad Dallas and I did. And then I see the tweet. And my initial reaction was I was too shocked to even process it. It took me a while. A couple of reasons. One is because
mine was anger. My initial reaction.
Well, yeah. That's that's natural for you.
Yeah.
My natural reaction is, hold on, let me think about this before I react. So DiVincenzo set the record for most 3-pointers made in a single season for the Knicks last year. He's also a pretty good defender, not a great defender, a pretty good defender. And he had the Nova Knicks chemistry going. They were going to have the four guys. So a couple things regarding that. One was that's why I was surprised that he was gone. And then secondly, Knicks fans, including myself, we developed an emotional connection with Devo. I mean, he made that big shot against your Sixers, and he was just a player that we really enjoyed watching. He was a big part of the team last year. Now, that said, just because he was a big part of the team last year doesn't mean he was going to be a big part of the team this year. He wasn't. There were only a certain amount of minutes for these wing players. Bridges, OG, Devo, Deuce, Hart. There's only a certain amount of minutes for those types of players. He probably wasn't going to be a very valuable piece moving forward, and he likely wasn't going to shoot over 40% from three again. I think he had a peak season last year. So including him in the trade makes sense. The whole thing about Randle now,
so I'm waiting for you to get to the potential negatives, because all you just listed was all stuff that's really good.
I'm gonna get there. Okay. I'll get there. Okay.
Good luck.
Randle has been a really good player for a long time now. Since joining the Knicks unlocked him. Tibbs unlocked him. 25, 10, 5 every single season. He's an imperfect player. He turns the ball over. He is a ball stopper, which doesn't work in this offense, and he's not a good three-point shooter, which doesn't work in this offensive spread philosophy that the Knicks are really leaning into, which I want to get into later as well. A couple things though. Here's the potential negatives. Not saying it's a negative. The Knicks had something going. They had a chemistry going. So anytime you make a big change, a big transformation, which this offseason in general has been a big roster transformation, but this trade is a significant trade. You don't disagree with that, right? You're taking your second best player and swapping him for your new second best player.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so anytime you do that, there's some risk involved. Then when you're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, you're talking about a lot of the similar things that Knicks fans have disliked about Randle. Some of the bad turnovers, some of the lazy defense. A lot of that is Cat. That's what all the Timberwolves fans have been saying about Cat for years. Now, the other thing is this. Tibbs has historically been a coach that believes and is committed to the philosophy on defense to have a rim protecting center. I'm not saying Cat can't be that, but up to now in his career, and he's 8 years in? That's not who he has been. So it is a change in philosophy. If the Knicks are playing Karl-Anthony Towns at the 5, Tibbs is committing to a new philosophy. There is risk there. A coach doing something different than he's done his whole coaching career. There's risk there. There's a certain amount of risk there. Then the Knicks with Randall, like what they could have done, they could have let the season play out. They could have eventually extended him. They could have traded him in the offseason. They could have traded him at the deadline. By making this move now, they've hamstrung their ability to make a different move that theoretically could have come up. So there's a risk. There's risk there too. This is the move. You're not going to be able to realistically trade Cat for another star. You never know what's going to happen, but most likely you're not going to be able to. This is their move. So there's risk there. I'm not 100% sure that Cat's going to come in, play enough defense that Tibbs is going to feel comfortable with Cat playing the 5. And I'm also a little bit unsure about if the Knicks have enough playmaking with Brunson off the court, because Cat's a really good, you can throw it to him in the post. You can do the pick and pop, pick and roll. He's a great catch and shoot guy. He's not a one-on-one draw to and find the open guy. He's just not a passer. He doesn't have great vision. That's not a strength. Randall actually is a better passer and has better vision than Cat. Now, that's my hesitation to say this is a sure win for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you're totally overthinking it. I think we talked last week about just the fit of having someone. We talked about Julius Randle potentially playing the 5. Now you have a real 5 who can stretch the floor, who can score one-on-one down in the post. I mean, you have a great point guard, a great wing, and a great center. You got McBride off the bench who can come in and create and make some plays for you. And they're just loaded. So, just be happy because it's going to be great. I mean, it's like, what are you doing? You sound like me right now.
No. I'm bringing up things that potential concerns. I'm not saying that it's a bad trade. I'm not saying that I'm out on the trade. I think it's a good trade. I just don't think it's a clear cut. This is a winner. There's a reason why Karl-Anthony Towns was available. So you mentioned when we started, why is he just available for nothing? Well, I disagree that it was nothing. It was not a big package for a star player. There's an answer to that question. It's because his value around the league is not high. That's the simple answer. If he was as good as you're making him out to be, the return would have been better. But he's not a perfect player. So there's a reason why, given the contract and the imperfections, why he was available for that package. The Timberwolves clearly made the trade that they got the best return they could get. There's no way they just talked to the Knicks and just said, all right, we'll just do it without seeing what's out there over the years. They definitely know the market for him. There's a reason why this is the trade that they made. So to say they got nothing for him, which is, well, I disagree with that. The point you're making, though, really is that the NBA decided that he wasn't that valuable.
Well, he's really valuable to what that team needs. And
I agree. It's the perfect trade for the Knicks.
It's in terms
of what they can get for Randall. This is the best the Knicks could have gotten for Randall, because as good as Randall is, again, the NBA doesn't value his type of skill set. He doesn't spread the floor. He doesn't play good defense. He's a very one-on-one ISO player, and he's not a high-efficient ISO player. So while he's very good, he's tough, he's strong, knows how to get to the basket, but it's hard to win with a player like Randall as your second or third best player, because he's taking away from all the other things that winning teams try to do. But, I mean, I don't think it's a clear cut, just because I think also the depth. I mean, that's another thing I want to talk about. So the idea that the idea was that the Knicks were going to have Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Deuce McBride off the bench, which was going to be a really, really good bench, possibly the best bench in the league. And the bench took a big hit. I mean, we don't know exactly who's going to come off the bench. I know everyone's just plugging Josh Hart in the lineup. I'm not so sure that Josh Hart's going to be the starter. By the way, I'm not so sure that Tibbs is not going to use Cat as a 4. I'm not 100% sold on that. I hope he doesn't. I hope he uses him at the 5, but I'm not 100% sold that that's an automatic. But I think the bench in general has questions, and they lost some of their depth with the Mitch injury and trading deep. So that's, I think, the cause for concern as well.
Yeah, I mean they lost one bench piece. I mean, yeah, the Robinson thing isn't ideal right now, but you're gonna go 7 or 8 deep in the playoffs, so you'll have your starting 5. Let's just assume it's Hart, and then you'll have Robinson, McBride, and Campaign off the bench. Like that's a
Probably trade
fucking
Robinson at some
squad,
point.
dude.
They'll probably trade Robinson.
That's a squad, and that squad, I think it can go toe to toe with Boston. But book it. I mean, basketball is not hard to figure out. It's really not, especially fit. Yeah, you're Mr. Fit, right? Like I'm always the one. I am team Phoenix Suns. Give me all the stars and let's figure it out. That clearly doesn't work.
Yeah. And I am about the fit. Yes.
Yeah, and this is like right up the alley. It is perfect fit.
Yeah.
Just what they need. That's it. Like they're good. Okay, they're going to be the 1 or 2 seed. Philadelphia will lose in the second round again, and it'll all be for nothing. And this great offseason that they had. Oh, Caleb Martin and Eric Gordon. Andre Drummond. Don't worry, we're going to get at him with Andre Drummond. Give me a break, dude.
I see what's going on here. I do want to stick to the Knicks trade, but the reason why, as a Sixers fan, all you think about when you see this trade is the Sixers and that you're so down on the season now. The Sixers signing Paul George, all a waste.
Yes,
you have this little brother like complex with New York, right?
No, I would feel this way about it. No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, the Knicks make a trade and it ruins your day, ruins your week.
That's
the Knicks.
Context, though. Context. Again, most excited I've been for a basketball season in my entire life. And yeah, now they're like definitively not going to even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. So like
definitively. I do think the Knicks are better than them. I thought the Knicks were better than before that trade. But okay.
What did you say? What was the last thing you said?
I thought the Knicks were already better than the Sixers.
Well, now they're even more better. So
it's definitive
now. It lessens Philadelphia's chances even more.
All right, so
yes, that sucks from a Sixers standpoint. Like it just sucks.
You talked about okay. So you mentioned the fit. I want to talk about the fit real quickly, and then we'll move on to other segments. So about first half of last season, the Knicks front office decided, you know what, Jalen Brunson's the guy. Let's build a roster around him. Since then, they made 3 really big trades. They traded for OG, they traded for Bridges, and they traded for Cat. To make those trades, they moved Randall, RJ Barrett, IQ, Devo, all of their draft capital. I mean, that's a huge roster transformation in about, less than a year, in maybe 7 months. That's crazy. And what they've done is they've gone away from all of their non-floor spacers. They've really leaned into this. In the NBA season preview we'll talk more about lineups and rotations and things like that. But this leaning into into the floor spacing and the catch and shoot threes philosophy. Last season, this is interesting. Let's take the top 100 players in 3-point percentage and who took 75 catch and shoot threes or more. So the top 100 players who in 3-point percentage who at least took 75 catch and shoot threes. The team with the most players was OKC with 7. The Celtics and the Knicks had 6. The Wolves and Pacers had 5. One of the Wolves' 5 was Cat. One of the Knicks' 6 was Devo. But now, with Bridges in Devo's role, the Knicks are looking at 7 potential guys on that list. You talked about fit. You're right. They're trying to space the floor around Jalen Brunson. And Cat is probably the best shooting 5 in the league if he's playing the 5. So that's best 3-point shooting 5.
Yeah, totally.
Some advanced stats here. Last 7 years, 5 guys had 23 points per game with a 58% effective field goal rate. Cat, Jokic, Steph, Giannis. The 2 years prior to the Gobert trade, with Cat on the court, the Wolves' offensive rating was in the 97th percentile. So, offensively, I agree. Offensively, this is a huge upgrade for the Knicks. I'm a little bit concerned about the defense and the depth, but I do think offensively this is going to be a really tough team to defend. So good luck to the Sixers.
Yeah, they're going to need it.
We'll talk more about the Knicks during our NBA season preview and more how this affects the Sixers and how their season is over before it started. Let's get to the Eagles.
Yes.
So
another team whose season is over.
The Eagles lost to the Bucks 33-16. They're 2-2. They have a bye. At least you don't have to suffer for next week.
Mm-hmm.
And this game was just a blowout in every way. I mean, I want you to talk about it, but just looking at the stats: yardage 445 to 227, passing yards 334 to 114. Jalen Hurts threw for 114 yards. I mean, they lost 2 fumbles. They forced no turnovers. Hurts was sacked 6 times to Baker twice. Baker Mayfield just shredded them. I mean, look, dude, they had no Lane Johnson. They had no Devonta and A.J. Brown. You didn't expect them to win. But I'm sure the way that they played was probably just I'm assuming what you're more upset about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're just fucking awful. Like they don't they're not good at one thing. I dare you to name something that they do well. You can't do it because they're not good at anything. And Saquon Barkley
well.
busting, great. That doesn't mean that they run well as a team. That means he's pretty good. Yeah, they're horrible. I mean, they don't do anything well. I mean, dude, so to answer your question, no, I mean, would I've loved to go down there and win? Obviously, would I at least want to see you look like a football team. Like you didn't even look like you were playing the same sport as fucking Baker Mayfield, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Baker Mayfield is fine. Dude, at one point he was like 18 of 19 for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, they don't do anything well. They don't do anything right. And yes, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Lane Johnson were out. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Lane Johnson don't play defense. So, like, I don't care that they're out. Like, again, I'm not expecting you to put up 42 points. I expect you to look somewhat competent. I don't think that's very much to ask. Specifically the defense. Like, they were right back to the Falcons game where they could not, they were just getting pushed around. Everything was just like the easiest pitch and catch you could imagine. And it's like, I was watching the game with my brother, and there was a couple times where I'm just like, oh, Slay's playing 12 yards off. Okay, here's going to be a Godwin slant. And lo and behold, it's a Godwin slant, and it's the easiest pitch and catch you've ever seen in your life. And it's just like, if I can see it from my couch in New Jersey, why aren't they doing anything? Jam the wide receivers at the line. Do something. Because what you're doing clearly isn't working. Newsflash. He's taking a 3-step drop and getting the ball out quick. And you are nowhere to be found. The pass rush is done. Bryce Huff is looking like one of the worst signings in Eagles history, at least from my standpoint watching. He's up there. There's been some swings and misses, but he is very, very, very bad. 4 games. He's now played 4 games as a Philadelphia Eagle. He has 1 tackle. Those are his entire 2024 season statistics. 1 tackle. No sacks.
I don't know what to say about that. He was so good last year.
He's awful. I mean, he's just really awful. Hurts is awful. I mean, it's time, that we all look in the mirror and we say, this guy's just not good. And I'll tell you, he's eerily similar to the Carson Wentz experience, I feel, where towards the end of Wentz's tenure with the Eagles, like it was just this. It was, he's holding onto the ball for way too long. He's causing way too many turnovers, fumbles, interceptions, but like once every game, maybe once or twice a game, he just makes a play when you're like, damn, like that was kind of like Zach Wilson, honestly, where like 1 or 2 times
don't do that. Don't, just come on. You're going to lose me once you do that. Don't do that.
You know that Wilson had some where he would scramble and spin out of the pocket, but like he would, and it's true. So listen,
I'm going to ignore that. Just keep going.
fine. But it's of the same ilk of like, yeah, this guy will make one or two plays that are extremely high level that only a handful of quarterbacks in the world can make, but everything else is just not good
You know what?
enough.
Usually I want your teams to do well. I see how upset you are, how much you care. For this, actually thinking that Jalen Hurts is even thinking that on some level, in some way, has some comparison to Zach Wilson. I hope you get a quarterback on the Eagles that is like Zach Wilson one day. And then
I'm
you're gonna
just
wish Jalen Hurts. You're gonna be like, yeah, I don't know what I was talking about. I don't know how I was that stupid. Jalen Hurts is amazing. I don't know. Dude, Zach Wilson. Oh my god.
I'm just saying that every once in a while he makes an amazing play, but
I understand your point. You're saying
the
that he
the
shows,
the
so he doesn't play well, but throughout a game, but he makes a couple nice plays. It's like, oh wow, and it mesmerizes and fools people into thinking that he's good. That's pretty much what you're saying, right?
exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly right. And yeah, it's time to stop fooling ourselves.
I think
You know,
his
the guy had this is his fourth year as a starter, fifth year overall, fourth year as a starter. He's had one good year out of 5 years. So it was clearly the outlier. It's clearly almost like the Chip Kelly Eagles, where it worked for a little bit. The league had caught up to it, and they don't know what to do. They're just so inept. Yeah, he just doesn't protect the ball. Since the start of 2023, he has 27 turnovers, leads the NFL. This year, he leads the NFL in turnovers. And yeah, the Eagles just they turn the ball over. They don't create turnovers. They muff punts. Like they're just a totally they're not good at anything.
okay.
They're not good at one phase of the game, and
Yep, but they're 2-2. They have a chance.
but they're horrible. Like
But they have a chance. They're 2-2. They
they
can
don't
improve.
have a chance. They don't have a chance. And here's one thing you have to give me credit for. When the Eagles are good, like the Super Bowl, the most recent two Super Bowl runs, for example, like I would say that they're good. Even as negative as I am, I would say
Yeah.
this team's really fucking good. They're
You want me to
awesome.
give you credit? Here's what I'll give you credit for. You will say it, but you would never say that week 4. The Super Bowl season, you were not saying that week 4. You were saying that week 16, week 14, maybe week 12 or something. You were not saying. What was their record after 4 games that year?
Super Bowl year 4-0. Or sorry, 2022 they were 4-0, and 2017 they were 3-1.
Week 4, you probably weren't
So I'm
saying
glad.
that. They were,
I'm glad
great.
you brought that up, though. Glad you brought that up.
Okay.
What if it was week 11? Would that be like enough of a sample size for
I
you?
don't think there's a clear like this is this week. I don't think it's like, well, week 10 now we could say, I'm not even telling you that you shouldn't be down on them.
But once you're into week 11, that's like, all right, we kind of know who everybody is at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean at some point, yeah, I that's fair. Fine.
Okay. So the last 11 games the Eagles have played,
Yeah, but that's not. I know what you're doing, but that's not the
they
same.
are
That's not the
they are
same.
3-8.
But you're going back to last season. You asked me a question. Now you're changing it
They're
to
3
support
and 8.
the argument you want to make.
They're 3-8. They have a point differential of minus 92. Minus 92. And I know what you're gonna say is, oh, they have 5 new players on their team. Well, they have 48 players were here last year, so it's
not just that
largely
they
the
have new
same team.
players. It's not that they have new coordinators. Players also perform differently from year to year. Also,
Something is wrong with them, though. When you watch
okay,
them, you can look. Listen. So yeah, you watched the Eagles, you watched the Jets, you watched all the football games yesterday, and you can tell when an offense just is broken. They don't do anything well. You can see that the quarterback is holding on to the ball for too long. He's making really poor decisions.
I agree. Pocket
He
awareness is
doesn't
a problem.
step up in the pocket, right? He doesn't make good reads. Like there's just nothing you can point to and say, all right, well, I mean, I guess other than Barkley being really good, but like specifically with the quarterback, there's just nothing that you can point to and say, oh, well, he does this really well. And that fucking sucks, dude. And like, again, it's the Carson Wentz thing all over again. They went to the Super Bowl, they paid him a lot of money, and he's just been going off of a cliff ever since. And like, at what point? Again, this is now 11 games. At what point do we say this guy just doesn't have it anymore?
Well, you're already at that point,
like,
aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes,
Okay,
we
so what do
are.
you? Okay,
Hopefully, the Eagles are too. But this
so
is the thing.
you know the Eagles aren't at that point, though.
I'm
You know the
trying to
Eagles aren't.
think of a team that has a worse quarterback situation in the NFL in terms of contract, money, and years left. It's got to be a bottom five situation.
The Cleveland Browns.
Okay, that's one.
Okay, the New York Giants.
No,
because they can get out after this year.
They can
get
out
you
of
think
it.
Daniel Jones is better?
I'm not so sure. Well, I'm not so sure that Hurts is better than Jones at this point. But it's largely yes. It's because this is the last year of the deal. So that's the thing. They like people want the coach fired. Everyone's saying, "Oh, that like people are." You got to hear these idiots on the radio. They're talking about like bringing in Bill Belichick. It's like
why not?
You're because you're not. They're not good. Like
don't you want the coach fired too?
Don't be the Giants and think that you're good and give yourself false hope. Like you're not a good team right now. Like you need to just stop pretending that you're a good team and like do what's necessary to get yourself back to being a good team. It's so weird because like you would think when they won the Super Bowl in 2017, they had a very young quarterback, this good core group of guys. And you would think that they're like a team on the rise, right? But they shit the bed, fired the coach, and they're doing the exact same thing. Why can't they have sustained success for more than like a flash in the pan of a season? It doesn't make sense. It's like all these other teams, the fucking Bills and the Chiefs, and all these teams that are good for fucking 5 years at a time. Like it just never happens with the Eagles. It's fucking again. Lightning in a bottle.
The Eagles have been pretty good for the last few years.
They were great in 2022. They were okay last year with a horrible end to the year, and they're horrible again this year. So, again, why can't they just have a nice I'm not asking for the New England Patriots 25 years. Like, put together a nice 4-year stretch. Like, it shouldn't be that hard when you have all these young pieces together.
What's a nice 4-year stretch, in your opinion?
NFC Championship game appearances, Super Bowl appearances. You don't have to win 4 straight Super Bowls, but like
what about in terms of the regular season? Like regular season wins over a 4-year period combined. What would be like, oh, this is a good 4-year stretch?
I suppose 45.
45. Okay. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. It's again, it's just so weird because you in theory have your young quarterback, you got your receivers, you got your lines, and for whatever reason you just can't put it together for more than a season. And they're in real dude, I'm like everything I said about the pass rush against I am so out. I'm never getting tricked into that slop ever again.
If they win in week 6, they have a bye week 5. If they win in week 6, you're not going to
have a bye week. I don't want to watch them.
But I want to make sure if they're 3-2 after 5 games, you're not back in. You're completely out, not back in. What if miracle happens if they're 4-2 after 6 games? No, still not back in.
Nope.
I think you're full of shit. You're going to be back in if they're 4-2. You're
so they have the Cleveland Browns at home, and then they have the Giants on the road.
Perfect. 2 wins.
Yeah.
4-2.
Okay.
4-2. So
nope.
Okay. Well, we'll worry about that when we get there. And don't worry, I'm going to allow you. I'm going to make it's acceptable for you to be back in at any moment. I won't hold you to this.
Okay. Thank you. But it's not going to happen, dude. I learned my lesson, man. They're not. I went against everything that I stand for, and look what happened. Trying to be positive, and they're the worst team I've ever seen.
The worst team you've okay, all right. Okay. So they're the
Here's the
worst team
thing.
you've ever
Here's
seen.
last thing about the Hurts thing. Like the turnovers, they always seem to come at the worst possible fucking time. So his fumble yesterday was they come out of the second half, they score a
Get a
touchdown,
touchdown. Yep.
get a stop, and they're driving again. So now they're down 14. They're driving again. They put together a really
Yep.
nice drive. They're now in the red zone. They're 15 yards away from getting it to within 7, and he fumbles the fucking ball, dude. And it's like that
Yep. I
done.
thought they were going to come back. I really thought they were going to come back before that.
And part of this just stupidity of myself is like, well, if the guy didn't muff the punt, then it's really a lot closer than you think, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like, I watched the whole. What am I doing? I watched the game. Like
That's
they
funny.
got thoroughly dominated. I mean, you have guys who left the game because like they were heat exhaustion. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? It's hot. Go drink some water. Go stand. Go stand by that big cool mist fan that's on the sidelines. Like, yeah, go
Those
there
look
and
so
drink
cool.
water. I
Oh
mean,
man.
what are we doing? How is it
Funny.
possible that the Eagles are dropping like flies and nobody on Tampa Bay is like they're out there
No, they're
like
used to
it's a picnic.
they're used to the weather in Tampa. Come on.
Go stand by the fan that cools you off. It's like not
All
hard.
right, sticking with the negativity, the Jets lost at home to the Denver Broncos 10-9. The Jets lost a game in which the opposing quarterback threw for 60 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
A really, really bad loss. Just an ugly game. And most Jets fans are kind of doing what you're doing regarding the Eagles. And I just can't get there. I just can't be done with the team and want everyone fired because of a really bad game. It was a really bad loss. Really undisciplined, a lot of penalties. The offense looked out of sync. Rodgers didn't look that good. They got dominated in the trenches. The offensive line got absolutely destroyed. The defensive line wasn't great, wasn't very good. They were helped out by the rain and how bad Bo Nix played, and the Jets secondary is awesome. But 13 Jets penalties.
Wow.
13. Brees looked awful. I've never seen him play that bad. He had no burst. Couldn't break a tackle. Couldn't make a guy miss. He had 10 carries for 4 yards.
Damn.
It was just I don't even know. It was
Conditions were just
so
really
bad.
sloppy, right? Yeah.
They were, but I don't know. That's if we can use. If I don't see, I think that excuses some of the sloppy play and a lackluster offense. But 9 points, I don't think that excuses it all. But anyway, they had a 1st and goal. You got to get in the end zone in that situation. They didn't get in the end zone. They were about to go for a 4th down. Then Simpson makes a false start penalty. It's just one of those games that really just so many penalties, undisciplined, and just they didn't make plays when they needed to. Even Greg Zuerlein with a chance after they were gifted a chance to win the game, missed a 50-yard field goal that would have won the game. So
yeah, did he miss 1 or 2 field goals that game?
he missed one, but
okay.
He's been shaky so far this season. He was amazing last year, but shaky this season.
Greg the leg.
Oh, not so much. They need a bounce back win next week. They have the Vikings in London, the 9:30 game.
Oh, damn. Jesus.
Do you wake up for those? I'm assuming you're up. You have kids.
Oh, God, yeah. I've been up for 4 hours at that point.
Yeah. Do you watch them? Or no, you're busy doing stuff with them?
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably, not the best time, but it'll probably be on in the background.
I actually like that game. I mean, maybe not so much for the Jets, but I really do like the 9:30 game.
Yeah.
Also, it kind of makes us feel like we're on the West Coast because they have like the 10 a.m. games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although they have this is 6:30 for them. I would probably wake up for it, but that's pretty
crazy.
early.
Yeah, well, my brother lived in Hawaii for a year, and he used to have to wake up at like 7:00 to watch the Eagles.
That's kind of fun, and then you have the whole day. Whereas here it ruins like your whole day is like it's football. You can't do anything else.
Yeah. Monday Night Football would be on at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So look, the Jets. I don't even know. Like, it was just such a bad game. I'm listening to a lot of I come across Jets pods, articles, things like that, and Twitter, and everybody just is freaking out. Even some of my most objectively like calm, critical thinking friends, Jet fans friends are saying maybe they're just not good. Maybe they're not, or maybe they had a really bad game. They have a lot, and they have a new offensive line. They have a quarterback coming off an Achilles tear surgery, and maybe they just need time to gel. They're 2
Yeah,
and
so
2.
I think they're just, I
Yeah,
think that it's just very easy to get frustrated because you've been bad for so long. You finally have, some expectations and you're looking forward to a good year. And like, it's just really frustrating. I think we said last pod, like, Jets fans are starving. Like, they want to see their team do well. But so I get it. But the thing that I will push back on you on, though, man, like, I'm like, September's over. So, like, as far as the whole it's early thing, like it's not late, but it's not early anymore. Like it's now a month of football. So I
but
think that the
yeah, but
time
two
to
and
gel,
two,
like
but 2 and 2 is, I mean, you're right in the middle of everything. They're 0 and 4, then that's a different story. Two
sure,
and two, and that's how I feel about the Eagles too. Just because we don't need to get back into that, you're out on them because you think they're a horrible team. But the Jets looked horrible yesterday, and for 3 of their first 4 games, they have not looked very good. They looked great against the Pats, and they found a way to beat the Titans. But at 2 and 2, here's how I look at it: if the Jets are going to be good, they might not be, but if they are, to go through your bad stretch, your bad 4-game stretch at 2 and 2 is a good thing. They may not end up being very good. It's possible, but if this is their bad stretch, that's not a bad. That's you come out of it with a fine record, 2 and 2. So, but yeah, I do think the defensive line's an issue. They might want to address that in the trade market. The offensive line did not look good at all yesterday. It's been okay overall, but the Jets secondary is great. It's holding up, really holding the defense up. And Rodgers did not look good yesterday. I don't know if it was the rain. He looked old and he just did not look good. And he had 10 days. So it was kind of surprising that he looked really good on short rest on Thursday night. And then with extra rest comes back, doesn't look great. No, the rain, the weather wasn't good, but
yeah, I saw a couple. Just I didn't watch that game too much because the Eagles weren't at the same time. But yeah, a couple plays I saw he did look a little slow. A couple times I
yeah,
saw him, I think, just kind of step up in the pocket and try to evade, get out of bounds, and it was didn't really have the burst. So yeah, hopefully, like you said, it was just the conditions, and next week he'll be a little bit more spry. But yeah, that not super encouraging.
he also got banged up, knocked around a lot. He was sacked 5 times, hurried. I don't even have that number in
Wow.
front of me. I would say 12 times. It was just a bad game.
Yeah.
They really had a really, really bad game. And it's a bad loss. I mean, you look at the schedule, home against the Broncos. Not that the Broncos are terrible, but you got to win that game. You lose a game when you give up 60 passing yards. I mean, that's how. That's just like it's kind of like the Zach Wilson era. But
Yeah.
moving on, the Jets play the Vikings in London. That seems like a really, really important game. You don't want to fall to 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
Vikings
It's
are off
not.
to,
Yeah. Not exactly who you want to see on the schedule right now either.
yeah. Sam Darnold looks great. The Vikings look great. They almost blew that game yesterday to the Packers.
Yeah, I
But
saw that.
still, they look great. We did a bonus episode recapping the Giants Cowboys. That was me and Brad Dalius. So if you're looking for a Giants recap, check that out on our YouTube and Spotify page. Giants lost to the Cowboys 20-15 on Thursday Night Football. Do you have any thoughts? It's been a while ago now. Anything to add on that? That
The
you really
biggest thing
that
I'd
really
have
bothered
to
you?
add, I mean, the Giants look like they're a quarterback away, which is not good. If the Eagles had some semblance of a football team, I would be really encouraged because neither of those teams look like they're very good right now. So, I guess
Yeah.
we'll see what Washington ends up being. Obviously, they're off to an amazing start. We'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, I mean, it's really disappointing to just not be able to capitalize on a division that might be there for the taking. So,
It might be. Yeah. None of the teams look very good.
did
Washington
you
looks the
know?
best.
Did you know that the rookie for Washington?
Jaden Daniels.
Yes. Did you know that he has more scoring drives this year than he has incompletions?
I did see that. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're fucked. I mean, We are fucked.
But you know how this works. Sometimes a young quarterback looks great and then falls off. You've seen this happen.
Yeah, yes. But I mean,
But it
not
only
like
happens to
this.
the Eagles. Only
Only
happens to the
happens to
Eagles.
the
It wouldn't
Eagles.
happen.
That's right.
No, of course.
Yep. And the owner of Washington, he also owns the 76ers, and, they'll be winning Super Bowls in Washington while the Sixers are still trying to get out of the second round. It's a disaster.
Yeah, I heard he's actually going to use all of his income and finances for the football team, for the Commanders.
Makes sense.
To use money for, he's going to improve the stadium, the scouting department, the analytics department, and to do that, he's going to take away from the Sixers.
Right. That's right.
What he's going to do is he's actually going to trade Embiid for these protected lottery or these protected first round picks that you love, and just to save costs, and then throw it into the Commanders analytics department.
That's right.
Yeah.
Smart business move by Mr. Josh Harris.
Baseball. The Mets with an awesome win on the first game of their doubleheader today to get in the playoffs. I know. It was middle of the day. You were working. Most people were working. Some people can work and watch at the same time. Or, really just watch. But it was an electric game. Back and forth. Braves had a 3-0 lead. Mets scored 6 runs in the 8th inning. Braves came right back to score 4 runs. An Ozzie Albies bases clearing double. And then the Mets come back. Lindor, a 2-run home run. And the Mets win and punch their ticket to the postseason. Braves came back in the second game of the doubleheader and won. So the Mets and Braves are both in. We talked about this potential. The D-backs, this is really on the D-backs. You should be mad at the D-backs because you're shaking your head. You're upset, but
they both fucking got in, dude. They, of course.
We'll blame the D-backs. They fell apart at the end.
All right, here's a question for you. Which one of those two teams eliminates the Phillies? What do you think?
Well, if the Mets beat the Brewers, they would play the Phillies.
Okay, so the Mets is what you're saying. Yes.
So they're the most likely one because they have the most clear direction to playing the Phillies.
Right. Okay. It's going to be one of those two teams. I mean, we can all agree on that.
I don't know that. But, okay. I don't even... Okay, so the Mets are in. They play the Brewers. The Mets are the 6th seed, the last wildcard spot. The winner of the Brewers and the Mets, as we just said, plays the Phillies, who have a bye.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was going to ask you how you're feeling about this, but the way you're feeling is clear that they're going to lose to the Mets or the Braves.
How am I feeling? I'm not feeling great. No,
is this just because of the Eagles?
This is all just residual negativity from other sports right now.
So you do acknowledge that this is not really related, that the Phillies have nothing to do with the Eagles. You're right. You do take a step back and okay, good. Okay, now continue.
Okay. So I'm feeling fine right now. I mean, right now it's kind of, baseball's been, ever since they clinched the 2 spot a few days ago, kind of been on cruise control. It's kind of just get me to October 5th. Let me know who we're playing October 5th, and we'll see you there. So it's tough. It's tough to kind of just to gauge. But we're not going to see him for a week.
It is. You're not going to see him until Saturday. I do like the Philly situation, though. I do like how they have their rotation set up against one of these two teams that's probably not going to have their rotation set up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's good. In terms of health, I think the only question I'm seeing, correct me if I'm wrong, was Austin Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's coming back from a back injury, and they haven't determined if he's going to be good to go for the NLDS.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's in, I'm assuming he plays against lefties.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
Cassidy plays right, and then what do they do? Rojas, Marsh, Weston Wilson.
Marsh. They like Marsh against righties. That
makes sense. So what about lefties? Hayes,
Cassidy.
Hayes. Who's the other?
Yep.
And Rojas plays, or Weston Wilson? Who's the other?
Yeah, I mean, it's a platoon of those guys at this point.
At least you don't have to worry about it for a few days.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'll be very nice.
Congrats to the Phillies. Number 2 seed, bye. Earn themselves some rest.
Division champions, yeah.
NL East champs.
NL East champs.
The Yankees in a similar situation. They have a bye. They're number 1 seed in the American League with 94 wins, which is kind of crazy. They await the winner of the Royals and the Orioles. Game 1 of the ALDS will be on Saturday at Yankee Stadium. Yankees had some injury situations come up, though, the last week or two. Well, the last week. Did you see the Rizzo thing?
No.
He got hit in the hand, broke 2 fingers.
Oh, I actually did see that. I didn't know that he broke his fingers. Yeah, I was watching that live. I just so happened to have it on.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they haven't officially ruled him out for the ALDS, but how is he can't even grip a bat. How is he gonna play?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not gonna be on the roster. That's gonna leave them with the option of Oswaldo Cabrera, who's a utility player, or Ben Rice, who played first base a lot when Rizzo was on the IL during the season. He had like a really good stretch. He had a 3-homer game, but then he just fell off a cliff. Basically, the rest of baseball realized that, hey, this dude can only hit fastballs. Let's throw him breaking balls. And he hits like 060 against off-speed pitches. So I think they'll go with Oswaldo, but that's not a great situation. The other question for they also lost Nestor.
Saw
Nestor
that too.
Cortez.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to be one of their 3 starters because with the days off, they only need 3 stars for the DS. But he was going to be a useful piece out of the pen. No more. And then the other question is, 2 other questions. One is who's playing left field. They've done a lot of Jason Dominguez and some Verdugo down the stretch here. I'm thinking they're probably going to be going with Dominguez, and Verdugo will be the defensive replacement. But something to look out for, maybe against lefties, they go with Verdugo, who's the better defensive left fielder. They both don't hit lefties well, so maybe they just prioritize defense. Or maybe with someone like Carlos Rodon, who tends to give up more fly balls to left field, maybe they go with Verdugo, the better left fielder. We'll see what the Yankees do with that. And then the other thing is their third starting pitcher, like Cole, Rodon. I'm assuming it's going to be Luis Heel as the third starter in the DS. But Yankees, just like the Phillies, a few days off. Phillies a little bit healthier. Yankees, the Rizzo situation really, it kind of sucks. I mean, not that he's a great hitter at this point, but his hitting has been coming along, and just his defense at first base is so valuable compared to the other options they have. So anyway, Yankees, Phillies get a bye. What do you think about? So you asked me about who's going to beat the Phillies, the Mets or the Braves?
Yes.
So, we talked about how the Mets play the Brewers, the winner plays the Phillies, the Yankees play the winner of the Royals and the Orioles. The other series in the wild card, though, what do you think about this? Braves versus Padres.
Interesting.
So that's the other way. If the Braves beat the Padres, and the Phillies, and then the Braves, and then the Phillies beat the Braves beat the Dodgers, and the Phillies beat the Mets or the Brewers, then they would play each other in the NLCS. The Braves lost Chris Sale. He was scratched today, and he's not on the DS roster. Back injury.
What? Oh, wow. It's pretty bad timing.
Good luck to them.
Yeah, seriously.
It's amazing that he stayed healthy all year, and he's going to win the NL Cy Young. But when you make a trade for Chris Sale, you know their injury risk. And it's unfortunate for them that it happened now, especially with the injuries that they've had. Strider, Acuna, Riley, Michael Harris missed a lot of time. Ozzie Albies missed a lot of time. Harris and Albies are back now, but that's tough to overcome. Kind of like the Padres in that series. I'll go out and I'll pick the Mets to beat the Brewers, and I'll pick I'm going to pick the Tigers to beat the Astros, and the Orioles to beat the Royals.
Wow, you're down on the Astros, huh?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked. I'm not sure what the status of Yordan Alvarez is, but he's been dealing with an injury himself. So yeah, and it's not even that I'm down the Astros. The Tigers are just one of these teams that they got hot last month of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They have an ace starting pitcher, Skubal, and I just feel like that's complete just guess with these series, obviously.
Yeah,
but I just kind of like that team. The team that really doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs. They're not good, but then they make a World Series run.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Sounds familiar. All right, so the NHL season's starting soon. We wanted to do an NHL season preview. I wouldn't say the issue. Maybe the fun thing about this podcast, this New York Philly podcast, is, well, we have a Philadelphia hockey team, and then we have 3 New York-ish hockey teams. I didn't want to leave the Islanders and the Devils out because I know some of our subscribers, listeners, watchers on YouTube, they specifically one has been asking about the Islanders. So we're going to split it up just because to do all in one episode is kind of its own episode. And so anyway, we'll touch on the Islanders. Sister, I think you're probably not that in tune with what's going on with the Islanders or the Devils, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm not up to speed.
Yeah, and that's okay. We don't.
That's what you're
There's a
for.
lot to be up to.
Yeah.
I'm not. Look, I can't tell you that I'm 100% dug into the Islanders and the Devils. So we'll touch on them. The Islanders, 94 points last season, third in the Metro Division, lost in round one to the Hurricanes. It was what they call a gentleman's sweep, which, I mean, come on. But they were down 3-0 and they won game 4.
Right.
I feel like that's something that you would laugh at, like the gentleman's sweep. Like if you're one of the teams you root for got swept, like you'd be like, oh, come on. They got swept. They didn't get gentleman's swept. They got
Right.
swept.
Yes, I would definitely say that.
So they actually were struggling halfway through the season. They switched coaches. They hired Patrick Waugh, and they took off from there. So 94 points. Like I said, third in the Metro, lost in round one of the playoffs to Carolina, who was again really good, and again will be good this year. Looking at their roster up the middle, centers, they're pretty strong up the middle. No real position battles. They got Bo Horvat, Brock Nelson. They got Pageau and Cizikas. They don't really have an elite like number one center, but they have very good depth. And I would say with Horvat and Brock Nelson, they have 2-1-2-ish type centers. So great depth. Wings, they signed Anthony Duclair, a former draft pick of the New York Rangers. And he'll be teamed up with Matt Barzal on the top line. And a big X factor question mark is KHL player Max. I'm not going to pronounce this correctly, by the way. Maxim Tipslakov.
Nailed it.
I've been reading a lot about him and seeing some highlights. He's like a potential, like from a skill set side of things, to be a top 6 forward. But there's a lot of lack of experience, no experience at the NHL level, minimal experience in minor league hockey. So he's the kind of guy
is the KHL the league that's like known for not like having very low scoring?
I don't know. Is it?
Okay.
I don't know.
Don't know.
I didn't know that there was a league known for that.
Yeah, there's a league that's known for they don't score nearly as many goals.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's a rules thing or a player skill set thing, but
yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. But anyway, he's the type of player that could find himself in a top 6 forward position midway through the season, or can be off the roster completely. So some X factor there. They also have veteran Kyle Palmieri, Pierre Engvall, and Anders Lee. They signed Simon Holstrom, who's more of a checking line guy, forechecking, third line, fourth line type player. I think that their top line of Horvat, Barzal, and Duclair is going to be relied on to create a lot of their scoring chances and power plays. So kind of a top-heavy offense. And then defensively, the top 6 seems set. Not much battles going on in training camp. Pelech and Pulak, Dobson and Romanov, and Mayfield with Mike Riley. So I wouldn't consider that a strong defensive group. But the big question for the Islanders is the goaltending situation. Ilya Sorokin for a couple of years was among the elite goaltenders in the league. He had back surgery in the offseason, so that's a huge question mark. He also wasn't very good last year also. Their backup is Varlamov, who's 36. That's going to, I mean, look, if you don't get good goaltending in the NHL, you need to have like the most skilled roster to even make the playoffs. I don't think the Islanders have the roster. If they don't get quality goaltending, they're not going to be a good team. So that's when I'm just diving into the Islanders. That's really where what I realize is that that's the big question mark. What will their goaltending be? And while it's important for every team, it's a huge question mark for them because you're talking about a goalie who is coming off a down season and back surgery. Speaking of goaltending, the New Jersey Devils last season had a really disappointing season. 81 points, 7th in Metro. That's out of 8 teams. So much offensive skill, led by Jack Hughes, who's one of the top 10 players in the league. They were coming off a year last year, well, 2 seasons ago, where they made the second round of the playoffs, and they just had so much speed. And last season, what happened was the goaltending was horrible. The defense was bad, but the goaltending was really, really, really bad. So now, just like this is the NHL more than any other pro sport, just a coaching carousel. You have a bad season, you got bad goaltending, let's fire the coach. So So new head coach Sheldon Keefe in, Lindy Ruff out. Of course, Lindy Ruff has to be fired. The goaltending was bad. This is what NHL teams do. This is why our two teams, when we talk about them next week, have coaches that coached the other team like 10 years ago. So it's just they just cycle through coaches in the NHL.
Yeah, they really do.
It's really crazy.
It's crazy.
So same roster core for the Devils. They have Jack Hughes, they have Luke Hughes, they have Bratt, they have Heischer, they have Dougie Hamilton. On the wings, they have Bratt, Tatar, Palat, Hughes, Heischer, Hola, Lazar, Mercer, Bastian, Timo Meyer. Defense: Hamilton, Sengether, Pache, Nemec, and Kovacev. Probably butchered that name as well. But yeah, so like I said, the goaltending was the problem last year. So they go out and they bring in two new goaltenders. They bring in Markstrom and Allen. Markstrom was a trade acquisition from Calgary, and Allen is the backup who they actually got at the deadline last season. So they didn't really bring him in this offseason. But so the Devils are going to need Markstrom to be really good. He was very good with Calgary last year, although the advanced metrics don't love him as much as the traditional stats like save percentage, goals against average. Jack
How many
Hughes
wins did he have last year? With
I don't know. Jack Hughes is coming off-season shoulder surgery. He's already good to go in camp, so that's good. One of the best players in the league. Always can take that next step. His brother, Luke Hughes, also had shoulder surgery, which I thought was a joke when I first read it.
That is weird, yeah.
Yeah, seriously. He's not ready to go, and he's going to miss the start of the season. When we talk Rangers and Flyers, we'll get a little bit more into it. I'm sure you'll have some input on the Flyers. Being a Flyers fan, I have much more thoughts on the Rangers than I do the Islanders and the Devils. Oh, by the way, before we move on, because we want to get to the Twitter segment and the subscriber question segment, did you see that we have an online YouTube troll?
No.
Yes.
No way.
Okay.
We made it.
This is hilarious.
Oh God.
And I gotta pull it up here. But yeah, so basically, the person who's trolling us is not trolling us on our episodes. He's trolling us on our clips, like our YouTube shorts.
Okay.
So this is very funny. All right, so he's commented on a bunch of our videos.
Okay.
His name on YouTube, his YouTube username is randomly rantful.
Okay.
So he likes to rant about random things.
Okay.
There's going to be an irony here. 11 days ago, he commented on one of our clips. This is when I had my bad audio. I think that was episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
Bro's mic is a straw carved out of a raw potato running on Windows 95.
That's pretty good.
I thought that was good.
Yeah.
It got me to laugh. My audio was bad. Sorry about that, everyone. So, all right, 2 days ago, this is when I was a clip of when I was going off about how, one of my soapbox ridiculous, how I get where I was like, the idea that someone can hate a player is ridiculous. Talking about Saquon, right? And I was just I was just saying how it's selfish and ridiculous that you can care that much. You can't see that it's a human being on the other side. Very logical, rational take. I get that sports fans don't want to hear logic and rationale though. So it goes against being a sports fan. It really does.
Sure. Yeah.
So he comments on this, and let me backtrack. The title of that YouTube short was "Why Fans Hate When Players Switch to Rival Teams," because Saquon switched to the Eagles. I think you know that. So he comments, "Bro, it's entertainment. It's a game. If fans want to be upset, happy, sad about something that happens in their entertainment, that's the point. Bread and circus. You and your buddy are bouncing a brain cell off one another." Every episode. So I think he dislikes me and you by association. You're associated with me, so now he dislikes you because you're not saying this stuff.
Yes.
You don't say this stuff. No,
I don't say this.
You agree with most of what he said, probably.
I mean, the bro is just throwing me off. Come on, bro.
All right,
bro.
Yeah.
Hold on. But yeah, the irony is bro.
His name's randomly rantful, and he's upset about someone ranting about random things.
Right, and then he's like, "Well, bro, we can get upset, but it's like, bro, we can talk about the absurdity of it. Like, don't get mad at us. You can get mad, and you can be upset, and we can make fun of it, bro.
You know what's unfortunate? He's not going to. If we don't clip this, if we clip this as a YouTube short, post it as a short, he's not going to see or hear about this.
Right.
Unless we let him know you got to check out the episode.
Yeah,
you made it.
Yeah.
He's not done. He has more.
Okay.
I'm telling you that he is this. If it was just one or two comments, I wouldn't have said this is a online YouTube troll. And maybe he's serious. I don't know. Maybe he's not trolling. I don't know. Maybe he's our number one fan.
Maybe.
If randomly Randful, if you're our number one fan, I apologize. Thank you for listening and viewing the shorts, getting those shorts up. Give us a like, and a subscribe. By the way, this clip, this YouTube short was titled "Eagles Fans Unite in Frustration and Debate." This is the one where you were saying that you were watching the game and they pan to the crowd and then Eagles fans saying, what right? They're like in sync with you. This is my all-time favorite. This is his comment. This is my all-time favorite shorts clip channel on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every time there's something obvious, they drop it like it's a Woj bomb. Breaking news. Eagles have a blunder. All the fans are they. Why? No way. The best quarterbacks in the last decade don't get sacked. Oh my God. And he
What? He lost me.
Okay, because that was when I was talking about how I don't think you were on that episode. That was the bonus episode with the Jets Pats recap.
Okay.
Where Brad Dallas and I were talking about how the best quarterbacks avoid sacks. They know they get rid of the ball, they read the defense. Yeah. And he was mocking that like saying it's an obvious statement. It is an obvious statement. I'm not trying to teach our listeners something, everything I say. That's a pretty elitist thing to think that one person is capable of teaching other people. I mean, we're just talking about nonsense. But anyway,
just cutting it out,
I really do. I know, but he's watching all of our clips, thinking about it and commenting. So I appreciate it.
I love it. We should have him on one time.
We should screen him first to make sure that he's going to be, normal. but yeah, I would be interested in that.
Might not be real. Some of these, there's a lot of bots and stuff on the internet.
You think this is a bot? I think
could be.
I think the depth of analysis in his comments make me think it's not a bot.
Okay, all right.
He had one more.
Maybe we mocked him on Twitter one time, and he's really upset.
We should have. We got to find him on Twitter. See if there's there's a randomly Randful on Twitter. He had one more. This is actually the clip of me saying about how the best quarterbacks avoid sacks. He commented on this. This was the first one. I think this may have been the first one he commented on. Breaking news: good quarterback can read defenses.
Oh man. We should we should do like a short where it's just like the dumbest, most obvious thing that we could think of and put it on there just as bait, to see if he bites.
Yeah, or at the very end of this episode, we just keep saying randomly Randful over and over again, and then we clip that and see what he says about it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Randomly Randful is our biggest fan and our number one subscriber. I can't wait for him to see this clip.
We love Randomly Randful.
Oh, love him. Love him. Appreciate him.
Love him. He's the best. Bro, he's the best.
Bro, keep watching. Keep viewing our clips, please.
Yeah.
Make sure keep us humbled. Make sure we know what we can talk about.
What do you think is just such a dumb, obvious, elementary thing we could say? We'll have to think of it for the next episode, but something like we'll think of something.
I want to get to the Twitter stuff and the Let's Mock New York Fans on Twitter and the subscriber questions. First, though, two things we have to acknowledge. Three things. One just happened recently right before we started recording. One is D Rose retirement. Awesome player, awesome career. You seem like, I think you're a D Rose respecter, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Really fun to watch.
Absolutely.
During his prime, he was awesome. So, Congrats to D Rose. And then two athletes or former athletes passed away in the last day or 2 days now.
Day, like past few hours.
So Dikembe Mutombo,
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. Dikembe Mutombo, and Pete Rose, the very controversial former MLB star.
Yeah, couple of Philadelphia legends, man.
That's right.
Yeah,
Dikembe.
R.I.P. Man, that sucks. Used to love Mutombo, man. It was like my first like team that I really fell in love with when I was a kid was the 01 Sixers. So yeah, definitely holds a special place in my heart. That guy, man, the guy was awesome.
Yeah, the elite rim protecting center.
Mm-hmm. The finger wag, just
Finger wag.
all time celebration.
Finger wag's awesome. Yeah.
Deke.
Well, you'd
Mount
probably get suspended for that now.
I know. Did you see Lazard get flagged for his?
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
So dumb.
It really is.
It's
really over the top. Yeah. So let's mock New York fans on Twitter. What do you have?
All right. So, disclaimer. I mean, I got some good ones, but it's kind of hard to mock people on Twitter when you're just so mad about your own sports teams. But I think I got a few good ones. Yeah. I honestly thought about that because there was a lot of Eagles fans that I wanted to mock. So maybe we'll do that at some point. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go in any order here. I think I'm just gonna rattle off 3, and a couple of them.
Okay, let's do
it. Yeah. So the first 2 I would say are actually just funny. Again, not really in the spirit of mocking New Yorkers. The last one, I'll give the gold to the last one. That one's pure New York mocking. But anyway, first one comes to us from Brian Costello.
That's a Jets beat writer.
He is a beat writer, yeah. So he said something pretty funny. He's at Brian Coz, C-O-Z. Mm-hmm. So obviously the Jets, as we said, very much struggled on offense yesterday. And a lot of people were saying, like, hey, same old Jets. Well, what some people might not realize is that Mr. Zach Wilson happens to be on the Denver Broncos.
I think most Jets fans realize that.
Who just came to town and won yesterday. So Brian Costello writes, very classy of the Jets to pay tribute to Zach Wilson today by playing terribly on offense.
That's funny. That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Side note, I've been thinking this for a while. Every time, one thing that really annoys me is it's very big on Twitter. Like, for example, you saw it a lot with DiVincenzo and Randall this weekend. It's like, oh, thank you. They'll put a big thank you post out, like the official Knicks Twitter will put, thank you, Julius, thank you. Which is fine. Anyway. Which is fine, right. But that's because the trade is not yet official. But
correct. It will.
But, dude, people go so over the top for it that, like, dude, I'm not joking. I don't like to use the word literally because I think people overuse it. But the Sixers, I think they literally do it for anyone who's ever like played any sort of minutes for them. Because earlier in the year when they traded for, I don't even remember right now because it's all just a blur, but they traded maybe it was for the package to deal Harden away. But anyway, Marcus Morris was on the Sixers for a little bit last year. I think he played like 18 games for them, like 7 minutes a game. And they put a thank you Marcus post up on Twitter. It's like, thank you for what? The guy, he came here on a vet minimum. You signed him.
Once a Sixer, always a Sixer.
I mean, you signed him in September. He was gone like December 2nd. It's like, what are you doing? Just very annoying. Anyway, had to get that off my chest.
All right, let's do it. Second one.
All right, second one. So this is after the Mets lost to Milwaukee. 6-0. I think this was on Saturday. So the Mets were kind of in a free fall for a little bit there. They had They had a 3-game losing streak, and they lost like pretty uncompetitive games, all 3 of it. So as a Mets fan, you're thinking like, holy shit, this thing's gonna slip right out from our fingers. So this is so the New York Mets, their official Twitter, posts the final score of the game. It says final Mets 0, Milwaukee 6, and this guy Vince22, his handle is at VinceG222, writes, so again, they write Mets 0, Milwaukee 6. He goes, it's okay. We have Scherzer, DeGrom, and Bassett pitching the next 3. I thought that was good. But
That's
anyway.
good. These aren't you're not mocking New York fans. Like you're laughing with New York fans.
Yeah, I know. This is a mockery. So again.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the gold medalist, even though I said there's not one or two. But anyway, so this is in regards to the Towns trade. All right, so everyone's some people are really happy, some people are up in arms. And this is just in the middle of a thread of people talking about it. So this one comes to us from, his name is Bob Black, and his handle is @BlackNAttack on Twitter. So
okay.
everyone's fighting back and forth about the trade, and he just says, and Cat is shooting 37% and no showing in the playoffs is what? Winning basketball? Cat is soft as baby shit, and playing in New York is like playing in a city of 8 million Jimmy Butlers. He's going to get eaten alive. Oh, there was so many, dude. There was so many, like, just
this is a rhetoric
he's
that's out there.
soft. New
Oh, that's a
York,
rhetoric
he's
that's
soft.
out there.
I know, but like, just be happy that you got a really good player who fits in perfectly with your team. You don't have to call the guy soft because Jimmy Butler yelled at him like 6 years ago. Like it's ridiculous.
Do you think he's soft?
No. Do you?
I don't really know what that means.
He's not. I mean, why is he soft?
Really
because
mean?
He played for it. I mean, it's. Why is he? Because he played for the Timberwolves. Like, what are we talking about? If he played for the Grizzlies,
I think people probably
would he be
say
tough?
that because I think people say that because he's a 7-foot dude who stands at 3-point line a lot. So they just say he's soft, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that. He shoots 3-pointers. It's like, okay, well, he's really good at it.
That's the point.
So.
That's what that's the point.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
And he's going to do that with the Knicks, and that's what the Knicks want him to do, and that's what he's
But
we
soft.
do need him.
He's soft as baby shit.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
It's just so dumb. Like, again, the only reason people say this is because reportedly he got, like, Jimmy Butler yelled at him at practice 6 years ago. Like, that's it. That's all the evidence. What else is there?
Oh, I don't know. I don't follow the Timberwolves enough. I don't even know what really when soft means. I just take it as people just say he's either not like mentally tough or he is not physically tough. Like he doesn't like to bang down low, which I mean that's not really his game.
Well, then he's soft.
Yeah, I mean if he was banging down low, the Knicks wouldn't have traded for him though.
I know.
I mean he could do a little bit of both. I mean I don't know. I'll completely hold out any judgment based on his numbers.
He can bang down low on probably. I mean, if it's not Embiid, Bam, I mean, who's he? Okay, who's he not? Maybe Anthony Davis. Like, who's he not banging down low with? Like, seriously,
there's really two centers in the East.
Right.
That's it.
That's what I mean.
Said, Embiid and Bam. That's it.
Yeah.
And Embiid's going to be out half the year anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And Embiid, and talk about soft. I mean, Embiid leads the league in soft. I'm just kidding.
Oh well, I mean, yeah. I mean, dirty and soft. He has both.
That's right. The rare combination of dirty and soft.
People are very upset about when the Mitch news came out that he wasn't going to be back. Mitch Robinson, he wasn't going to be back for the start of the season. I saw a lot of see what Embiid did. Embiid tried to end his career.
Yeah. That's exactly what he tried to do.
All right, so let's wrap up this episode with subscriber questions. I have 2. So this comes from Greg_DeSalvo. He's asking, is there a worse coaching combination in the NFL than Saleh and Hackett? Probably. I mean, he asked this. It's not a coincidence that he asked this question after the Jets lost 10-9 to the Broncos and not after they blew out the Pats. Right. This is just this all this stuff is very reactionary. I mean, Saleh's been pretty bad. I mean, his the team's been very undisciplined. So that's one of those things that does make me think that maybe at some point, years and years of being undisciplined, committing bad penalties, at some point you can point to the head coach for not holding guys accountable. And Hackett has never been successful without Rodgers. So I mean, Hackett's only there because of Rodgers. So it's kind of Hackett wouldn't be an offensive coordinator in the NFL if not for Aaron Rodgers. You agree with that, right?
Right. Yeah, I do. Off the top of my head, quarterback, coach,
No, not quarterback.
combo.
Not quarterback.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Coach,
Yes, head coach and coordinator. I mean, I don't know who the offensive coordinator is in Jacksonville, but I know Doug Peterson's the coach, and I know they really fucking suck. So that might be a
I don't even know enough.
But
I don't
the
know
argument. The argument to that, though, is that Trevor Lawrence just isn't any good. Whereas, in theory, Aaron Rodgers should be very good at this point still.
There are very few quarterbacks that are actually playing well.
Yeah.
So
other than that, I
would say that it's probably not the worst. It's probably worse, but I don't know how you can feel very good about it. Did you see the Robert Saleh press conference and the little miss? So in his after the game, the press conferences, which I always say, don't listen as a fan. Don't pay attention to what the coach says. I'm not actually upset about this. I'm just letting you know. I'm just talking about what happened. So they asked Saleh, "What's going on? Like, what do you like? What's going on with all the false starts? Like, what are you going to do to fix it?" And he said, "Perhaps we'll consider changing the cadences." Essentially saying that Rodgers' cadences are too complicated for the offensive line, and it's causing false starts. So Rodgers gets up there, right? He's not going to back down.
Yeah.
And someone says, and I think he handled it perfectly, personally. And they told him what Robert Saleh just said, and he took a second, like he's thinking about what's the best way to say this. Like, I'm probably not very happy about that comment, but also while knowing Rodgers, he understands that things are miscommunicated. So he thinks about it for a second, then he goes, "Well, that's one way to do it. Another way is hold people accountable." Such a great response.
That
so
is
funny.
Great. That's great.
But yeah, I that's not good. Robert Saleh should not be saying that. Like, just say we're gonna look into it. Like, it's just kind of a silly thing. Like, and again, like he's just speaking. It's after the game. He's emotional. He's feeling like he's being attacked and pressured in the press conference. He's worried about his job security. Probably everything's. It was just a terrible loss, and he just says something that they're not going to change the cadence anyway. You think like he's going to go to Aaron Rodgers and say, "Let's simplify your cadence." Rodgers is saying, who are you? Simplifying a cadence. So anyway, I thought that was funny. The second question, subscriber question, comes from George Willis. It's actually Willits. Wilits. Who is the Yankees and Phillies' biggest threat in the postseason? We already know your answer. It's the Mets and the Braves, and because we figured out that the Mets have the clear path to playing them in the DS, I'm assuming your answer is the Mets, or do you want to give a real answer?
No, my real answer would be, it's hard to pick against the Dodgers.
The Dodgers, yeah.
I know that they've had they seemingly choke and blow it every year in the playoffs, but I just think this team is just way too good. Everyone's back. Everyone's healthy. They've got
Betts, not everyone.
Betts, Ohtani, Freeman. Yeah. But I'm saying about the lineup. Betts, Ohtani, Freeman is as scary as it gets as far as a top three goes. So and that would be the one series that they would have to play on the road if they made it that far.
Yeah, I do agree. I think the Dodgers are the biggest threat. That being said, obviously these playoff series, anyone can lose a series. So obviously the question is biggest threat. So yeah, I would say the Dodgers are the biggest threat to the Phillies. It's not to say the Mets or the Brewers wouldn't be a serious threat, and anyone else that they play wouldn't be either. For the Yankees, you go first.
Man. So I guess it's Cleveland. I mean, the rest of the American League teams, I just don't think are as talented. Cleveland's always going to have good pitching, so I think that that's what really wins in the playoffs is good pitching, a couple timely hits, and then just the other. I mean, Baltimore sucks. I mean,
I was going to say the Orioles.
They've really stumbled to the finish line here. Now you never know. It's a new season once everybody gets in, and Royals, Tigers, and Astros. I mean, the Astros are always kind of looming. I know they're not the Astros of the past, but I think we said that in 2022 as well, and they went out.
Yeah, they still have some
Series,
pieces.
so.
I mean, they still have Altuve, Tucker, and Yordan, and so yeah. I mean, they have some good lefty starters that the Yankees struggle with. But I think the Orioles, they've been terrible for the last month and a half, 2 months. But talent-wise, I think that they are closest to the Yankees in terms of talent, overall roster talent. So I'm going to go Orioles. And I also think that would be, I think that'd be a really tough, because they would also get them in a 5-game series, which is more fluky, more random, because less games. So I would say the Orioles. But those are both good questions. So that will wrap the episode here. We'll see you next episode on episode 9. But thanks for watching, listening. Please give us the like, give us a subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Philly pride insists that's all. Andrew Rappin and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes, it seems. Philly versus NY, here we come. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear, join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in